Alright, so this is our video on quadratic formula. Quadratic formula might be the most difficult concept that's on the channel so far, but really all quadratic formula is it's a big scary formula, and once you label your numbers, your values for your variables here and plug it in, then it's just an order of operations problem. So let's kind of get into this. What I did here is for the quadratic formula, I put everything in black that stays whatever it is. So everything in black stays it doesn't get changed by the equation at all. Notice how in the quadratic formula it has to equal 0. If it doesn't equal 0, you have to make it equal 0. I color coded everything also. So this a is red. The number that's in front of the x squared gets plugged in wherever the a is. So if it's hard for you to remember the letters, remember the colors. So the red goes to the other red ones. Okay. The blue, the B's, wherever there's the B, it goes there. Now notice how this negative sign is there in black, meaning that even if this B is negative, that negative is still there. The C, there's just the one C in there. Also, the other thing that might be new to you is this plus minus sign. What that means is there are actually going to be two equations. We're going to split it up eventually, and we're getting into the notes next, or the steps next. What this means is it'll be negative b plus whatever this is, and there's going to be equation negative b minus whatever this part is. So let's get into these steps. So I've broken it down into 8 steps. If you follow these 8 steps, it does the problem for you. I'm not going to stay on this slide for too long, so if you need to, pause the video, write these down, and then start it back up. So first thing you do, label your A, B, and C. It's going to make your life so much easier, and that helps you in both math and in science. By the time you're learning about quadratic formula, your science classes are getting more difficult as well, and you're going to be working with a lot of formulas. Use this labeling of your variables and just putting it on the side. It really does help. So you label A, B, and C and you put it into the equation. So really all that is setting up your problem. Then you square the B inside the square root. So that B squared, square it. Then you multiply that minus 4ac. So the negative 4 times the A times the C, that's inside the square root. Step 4 is combining the number that you get in step 2 and the number that you get in step 3. Then you just find the square root. Okay, so now what you have is you'll have that negative b plus or minus a number after you do this step. Then you're splitting it into the two problems. Just like I talked about when we were looking at the formula, there's that plus minus sign. That means you're going to have one equation that has negative b plus whatever the number is from the square root, and then you'll have negative b minus the number from the square root. Then you combine your numbers that are in the numerator. The top of the fraction, you're going to combine those. So it'll be that negative b plus whatever the number is, and then you'll do the negative b minus whatever it is, and then you divide. You divide whatever that 2a is. So let's do a problem. What I did is I already labeled my A, B, and C, and I underlined the numbers so you can see where I got those values from. I kept the colors the way they are. I also put a little version of our quadratic formula just so we can see when we plug it in where it's coming from. So we are going to have our negative b plus or minus. I'm only going to do these colors for setting the problem up, and then I'm going to go to just black. And I'll underline the stuff that's new to the equation so we can kind of see what's new. So we have the negative 3, because b is 3. We have b squared, so I put the 3 there, minus 4. My a is 2. And then my c is negative 20. Notice how it's negative 20 here. It's negative 20 because it says minus 20 in my equation. All that is going to be over 2 times my a, which is 2. Now I didn't have a step for multiplying these two on the bottom, but you can do that at any point. So we labeled and we did that. Our first step when it comes to actually starting to solve stuff is going to be the square of that number. So I'm going to have negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 9, because 3 squared is 9, minus 4 times 2 times negative 20. All that over 2 times 2 is 4. I'm just going to do it now. So the two new things that we've done here is we have this 9 is new and this 4 is new. All right, after we do that, we are going to multiply these numbers together. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 20 is a positive 160. So we're going to have negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 160 over 4. So our new thing here is this 160. Okay, next step, you combine the numbers inside the square root. So we'll have negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 169 over 4. So our new thing is this 169. I'm going to bring it over here. All right, so now the square root of 169 is 13. If you put it in your calculator, it'll either be you put 169 in the calculator and then push square root, or you push square root and then 169 and then close those parentheses. So negative 3 plus or minus 13 over 4. This is where we break it down into two equations. Okay, because we have the plus and minus. So we'll have negative 3 plus 13 over 4. And we'll have, actually I'll keep it the same, negative 3 minus 13 over 4. Those are both new. All right, so negative 3 plus 13 is going to give me 10 over 4. Negative 3 minus 13 is going to be negative 16 over 4. When we actually solve these, our answers are going to be 10 divided by 4 is 2.5. And then negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4. So hopefully this video helps you understand the quadratic formula. Remember to use your steps. This slide right here is probably the most important thing in this whole thing. More important than actually seeing the problem done, more important than the equation. Well, I guess the equation is very important, or the formula is very important. But these steps do everything for you, and hopefully they help. Thank you.